Hi friends, welcome to my channel. For those of you that are new here, my name is Caitlin and I like to do eyeshadow palette ranking and review videos as well as the occasional other beauty content sprinkled in. So if any of those things are of interest to you, I definitely recommend that you hit that subscribe button because I post 2 videos every single week. And for those of you that are not new here, my face is happy that you are seeing it again. And for if you're not new here, my hair probably looks longer. I have the insert name here extensions in the extra inches extensions in. I think they are incredible because like I 3-barreled my hair yesterday and this is just what's left over after I brushed it out, and it like matches these extensions perfectly. So anyways, big fan of those, highly recommend. Okay, today I am bringing, I wanted to participate in this trend that I've been seeing. So I've seen Batty Bean and Emily's makeup blog, I believe, are the two that I've seen do these videos the most. I believe the initial creator that they both credit is Dolly Mama Beauty. I have not watched her videos yet, but I will make sure that all 3 of their videos are linked down below, probably their most recent in the series. But yeah, just want to make sure I'm giving credit on this idea. But what they've done is I think they typically each pick 10 palettes, or they have their husbands pick 10 palettes that they talk through to give their thoughts on, and if they could like if the palette wasn't in their collection anymore, if they lost it or something, would they repurchase it? I know Betty Jean, the Batty Bean, I know that she does it a little bit differently, where it's like if it were launching right now, would she buy it? And I think I'm gonna go more that route because, to be honest, I have so much makeup that if something were to break or I were to lose it, I probably wouldn't repurchase any of my palettes because I have a lot. So I try to stick to new stuff for the most part. So I don't think I'd be inclined to repurchase a lot. So I want to treat it as if this palette were launching now, would I pick it up? So that's what we're going to do. I'm also doing a little bit of a switch up where I'm going to talk through 15 palettes because I talk so fast that I think I'd be through 10 palettes in under 10 minutes. Although this intro is very long, so maybe not. But anyways, I'm going to talk through 15 palettes, let you know if they were launching right now, would I pick them up? And yeah, let's go ahead and get on into it. Before we get into it, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you're enjoying it at any point in time, and also leave a comment down below if you have any of these palettes and if you would repurchase them in this scenario. So I'm going to first talk through the palettes that I actually ended up using for this look today because I have them right in front of me. So let me tuck my hair behind my ear because it's in the way. Okay, so first up is formerly Alien Cosmetics, now Unearthly Cosmetics, the Don't Be Jelly palette. That's what I have, this shade DBJ4 tapped all over my lid, and I'm going to be honest, if this launched right now, I don't think I would pick it up, only because I have the Danessa Myricks Infinite Chrome Flakes, and I feel like I would think I don't really need a palette of just these special shades when I already have like the Infinite Chrome Flakes that I can use as a topper to create that special shade effect. But I do really enjoy this palette. Like I said, I have DBJ4 tapped all over the lid. That's the sparkle you see. And then DBJ1 is what I created a liner with. Now I will say these shades are what have prevented me from buying like multi-chrome eyeliners, but I still just don't think I would repurchase this. But I do enjoy having it, and I like that I have it, and I'm glad I did purchase it. But if it launched right now, I don't think I would be buying it. Okay, anyways, next up is the Melt Cosmetics Blueprint palette. I actually used the shade Skylight, which is that lightest blue shimmer shade. That's my highlight that I put on today. I didn't use it on my face. I would absolutely repurchase this palette. I know like a blue brown combo color story like isn't in, but I love Melt Cosmetics. If you haven't seen it on my channel, I did a whole ranking video of Melt, and then like I did a palette battle bracket thing with looks that I did with each palette after that. Like Melt is one of my favorite brands, so I would definitely be buying this, and I absolutely adore the shade Skylight. Like this might be one where if the shade Skylight shattered, I would maybe consider repurchasing the whole palette because I do love using it as a highlight. I don't know if I actually would, but I would think about it. But anyways, if that launched right now, I would absolutely pick that palette up. Next up is the Candy Skies palette from Laura Lee and Eryn Weaver. I have this minty shade on my lower lash line, and if this palette launched right now, I probably would pick it up. This is the only palette I have from Laura Lee, so in this scenario, if I didn't have this palette, I would think this was a cute enough color story for me to want to try her brand and her eyeshadow palette formula and things like that. I don't love pastels, but I like how this palette goes a little bit deeper than just pastels, so you can get some depth in your looks. So yeah, I think I would repurchase this one for those reasons. Next up is the Natasha Denona Pastel palette. So I have the shade Zest in the inner corner, and then I blended out, I have the Half Magic Beauty Chrome Addiction in Sky Juice. That's the darker blue, and I blended it out with the shade Airy. But anyways, those are the colors from this palette I have on. And to be honest, I don't love this palette. It's one of my least favorite palettes that have launched this year because I don't love pastel shades, and the shades that are like deeper in this palette to create depth, like what I was just saying with the Candy Skies palette, they're both her cream to powder formula, so they're not even as deep as they look in the pan. They stay very pastel. So yeah, I don't love it. But I love Natasha Denona, so if I didn't have my experience that I've already had with this palette and I saw Natasha release this, I probably would pick it up, but this is definitely not one that like I would want to buy if I knew in the back of my head like, oh, I've already used something similar, and you know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense. I'm making this complicated, but if this broke, in the one scenario where if this broke, I would definitely not repurchase this, but in the scenario where if it launched now, I would repurchase it because there's the collectionist piece of me that would want to get every Natasha Denona palette, which is what I'm trying to do, at least in the midi and like larger sizes. Although I don't have Biba or like gold, so I don't know. Anyways, whatever, moving along. So those are the only ones that I have on my face. The rest of these are just other palettes that my husband picked. But this one's actually kind of funny. So this is the Sydney Grayson Temptalia. This packaging is the Quintessence palettes, but she actually launched 3. I bought them all in the light version, and then I just never really reached for the mattes. So what I did is I combined my favorite shimmers from the 3 palettes into like my own one super palette. So if they launched this palette with all of these shades, not all 3 palettes, I would absolutely buy this because this is like my perfect palette. I pulled my favorite shimmer shades out of the other palettes. But if we're just talking like the actual Quintessence, On the Horizon, and what was the other one? Radiant Reflection. If those 3 palettes launched again, I don't think I would repurchase all of them because I was so torn on purchasing all 3 of them to begin with because they all looked so similar. So I think if they launched right now, I don't think I'd buy all 3. I think I'd be better at picking which one I absolutely wanted. But like I said, if she launched it where it was like my perfect shimmers in the palette, I would buy that because I really like this. So yeah. Next up is the Nomad Cosmetics and America's Parks palette. 100% I would repurchase this. I love this. I think this is such a fun, like grungy rainbow. Yeah, I would definitely rebuy this or like not repurchase this. Gosh, I'm saying this wrong. If this launched right now, I would pick this up as if I didn't have it. I wouldn't need 2 of them. Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm making sense. Melt Cosmetics Smoke Sessions. I don't know if I would purchase this if this launched right now, which is ironic because I didn't buy this palette until this year, but I just have a lot of greens that I don't really reach for, and I've discovered that about myself is that I don't tend to use green eyeshadow that often. I mean, I do it more than like some other ones. I don't know. This one's kind of hard. With my love of Melt, I probably would purchase it. If we're being honest, or if I'm being honest with myself, I probably would purchase this because I buy pretty much every Melt palette that they launch now. So I think I would pick this up. Might as well just keep up on the Melt theme. He also picked the Melt Cosmetics Vida palette. I would definitely buy this one because I love skulls, and so the skull packaging, I would absolutely pick this up, even though this really isn't my color story because I don't love warm eyeshadows and I don't love greens. So, but I will say these neutrals in the middle, they're pretty nice. They're like true neutral shades. So I do like this palette. Wow, he picked a lot of Melt Cosmetics palettes. Okay, let's do the Melt Cosmetics and Beetlejuice collab, the Recently Deceased palette. Beetlejuice is my favorite like Halloweenish time movie. It's probably in my top 5 movies of all time. I love Beetlejuice, so yeah, I would buy this palette. I don't love this color story. I feel like it's a little bit redundant, and I think they could have picked other shades to put in here to make it a slightly more interesting, but if this launched right now, I would 100% pick it up. So last Melt Cosmetics palette that he picked. This is the Amore y Mariposas palette. Yep, same as the other ones. I love Melt, so I purchase every palette that they launch, so I would probably pick this up if it launched right now. I do really enjoy this palette, and Laura and Dana absolutely sold this palette to me. Like, when I mean every single look they did with this collection, I was like, I want to do that, I want to do that, I want to do that, and then I recreated every single one of their looks. They 100% killed it. So yeah, I would, if they did that again, I would buy it for sure. Okay. So next up is the Pat McGrath Labs and Bridgerton palette. And I don't think I'd buy this if it launched right now. I do love Bridgerton, but I think this is a boring-ish color story. I know I got this because I thought, oh, I really want to try one of her, I think this is I don't know if this is a Blitz Astral shade or not, but I think I really wanted to try one of her special shade formulas, which is what this blue is. But I think I would have held off like I did with the Bridgerton 2 palette when it launched, or the second Bridgerton palette, whatever. Anyways, I think I would have held off because I just know myself, and I would have, right now, I would have just been like, I really don't need that. I don't need another neutrally pinky mauve palette. So I don't think I'd purchase this if it launched, even though I love Bridgerton. I would 100% pick up the blush trio though. I have that blush trio on my face right now. I would buy that if it launched again. The Red Dragon palette, it is a collab between Oden's Eye and Judy. So if this were to launch right now, would I pick it up? And I think I would. This is a pretty interesting neutral palette, and it has this really cool multi-chrome shade called Luna that's like really adds something special to like a smoky eye. But I think I would pick this up. I think this is a really, like I said, interesting neutral palette. You can get different looks. It's a very fall vibe, so if it launched right now, I would probably pick it up and be ready for all of the fall looks. So yeah, I would get that. Okay, last up, he picked a few Lunar Beauty palettes, so I'm going to talk through those. So the first one he picked was Life's a Drag, and I think this might be the oldest palette in my collection right now, because I think I got this in 2018. I can't remember, but anyways, if this launched, well, okay, so the Life's a Drag facelift palette launched, and I didn't pick that one up, but that was because I had this one. But if he launched this palette right now and I didn't have it, would I pick it up? And I don't think I would, only because there's no colorful shimmers. Like, you only have colorful mattes and like neutral shimmers. And while this neutral half is very pretty, I would be like, what am I supposed to do with these colors over here? So I don't think I would grab this one, but I do love this palette. It's actually, I really love the neutral side of this palette, which is ironic because normally I go for like colorful looks, but I think the neutral tones he has over here is really pretty. And I probably should get his, what is it? It's not the nude palette that he just launched. What is that called? It's not like, it has cherry blossoms on it. Is it the Nude Prism palette? Is that what it's called? Anyways, I don't know. Next up, let's go with the Greek Goddess palette. This would be second oldest. I think the Lunar Beauty palettes are the only ones that have stood the test of time in my collection, but you can't even tell, but I used the actual crap out of this palette. Let me see. This shade Persephone, you're not going to be able to see it, but it has a significant dip in it. So does Calliope. I think I just did this like all over the crease, and then I did that as like a shadow liner, and then I just went in with different shimmers. But anyways, this was when I did more neutral makeup back in the day before I got into color more and more. But if he launched this palette right now, to be honest, I probably wouldn't pick it up, just because I don't go for neutrals as much, and he just launched a neutral palette and I didn't grab that. So I don't think I would have grabbed this one. I mean, maybe because this packaging is absolutely gorgeous, so maybe I would still grab it, and I love Greek mythology. So maybe I would grab this one even though it's neutrals, but I feel like I wouldn't just because I feel kind of overwhelmed by all the neutral palettes I have right now. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think I would, but maybe I would. I don't know if that's a non-answer, but whatever. Last palette that we're going to talk about is the Lunar Beauty Eternal Eclipse palette. I would definitely, I know I just said I'm not picking up neutral palettes, but I would totally buy this if it launched right now because this is so interesting to me with these like different colored shimmers and then this like gray blue row at the bottom. I don't know, this would totally call my name because it still does. And I kind of want to use this palette again. I haven't used it in a while. I should go for it. But anyways, I would probably repurchase this one because I think I would think that was a really cool color story. But yeah, those are the first 15. I think if you all enjoy this series, I will continue it and just look at, I'll have my husband continue to pick 15 palettes and I'll keep a list of the ones we've already done so that he doesn't duplicate it. But yeah, let me know what you thought about this video in the comments. I love hearing from all of you. And like I said, if you have any of these palettes, let me know if you'd repurchase them, and I will see you all next time. Bye!